All right, let's go ahead and go over this information right now. I'll end it, and then we'll move forward. See where you guys are. I want to keep it moving. Okay, so first I'm looking at the classroom accuracy is 65%, so we're falling off a little bit. We had 95% of the people take the test. Question 10, parking alongside took an average of 15 seconds. So a lot of you are trying to visualize this. Let's look at this, let's explain it. And then if you have questions, you'll just put them into the chat. So let's go ahead and keep this moving, and we'll go from there. Let's view the report. Let's look at the questions. Okay, so the question is, when parking or turning just beyond the intersection? I like that question because intersections are very confusing. And you as a beginning driver, what's up, Jay? How you doing? What's up, girl? It's good. All right, when parking or turning, so you're in the downtown area, you're in your neighborhood, you're parking, you're turning into a driveway, just beyond the intersection, when should you start signaling? If you turn on your blinker too early, you're going to confuse people. Beginning drivers do that. If you turn your blinker on too late, you're going to get rear-ended. So you want to find the best answer. 200 feet, too early. Just after the intersection, I would say midway through. You want to give people time. 5 seconds before you turn, too late. 100 feet before you turn, too late. I'm doing great. Hopefully you are too. Leave some comments, girl. It's nice to hear from you. What's up, E? Hey, hey. E, talk to Jay. You're really, she's really a good person. Okay, let's keep going. This is a picture of a bicycle lane. You see this across the United States. You may drive into a bike lane with no more than 200 feet before. So you can't just sit there and drive in a bike lane. Bike lanes run parallel to the road. So bikers have a right to that lane. But if you have to make a right turn, again, getting in 50 feet is too late. Getting in 3 feet is definitely too late. 200 is probably okay. So these questions are about time and distance. Let's keep going. You see a picture of a car. When parked alongside the curb on a level street, flat, level, how many feet should your vehicle be from the curb? And this is a vehicle code question. I go over this. Why? Because I open your door and I check. I wear size 14, I check. Sarah, you okay? You falling asleep? You all right? I'm worried about you. I'm worried because, they're going to say, hey, she's falling asleep. Because people watching. Thank you, Sarah. Pay attention.
Sorry about that.
Hey, I want you to get your credit. Don't be falling off now. This is your test grade. The answer is, I'm going to go over it right now. So 3 feet from the curb, duh, your car's in the street. Not the answer. 5 inches from the curb, duh, you will get a ticket. Your car 10 inches from the curb, the best answer is within 18 inches from the curb. And our state is 12 inches. You need to be 12 inches from the curb. Will they measure? Yes. You go into small communities where they have parking meters, revenue. That's how states make money. You got to stay alert. Real talk. Which type of steering is used for most normal driving situations? I love this. It is hand to hand. Okay, some people say hand over hand, one hand. It's not one hand. It's not none of these choices. It really depends on where you are. So normal, your normal could be one hand. My normal could be hand to hand. So it depends. You're using hand to hand when you're parking. We drive, we don't park. Hand to hand, maybe you're going around a curve. You're going around a roundabout. So it really depends on the situation. That's a tough question. Is there a distance away from the curve? You should be 12 inches or less. When should a driver shift to lower gear? So you need to know first, why do you want to shift to lower gear? And what situations would dictate that? To gain power on low speeds. Not necessarily to gain power up a hill. To gain more power when towing a trailer. The correct answer is all of these. You want to shift to a lower gear to gain more power. Maybe you're stuck in the snow. Maybe you're in the mud. You shift to a lower gear, you get a lower gear, just like pedaling your bike. To gain power driving uphill, you shift to a lower gear to give you more power going up the hill. To gain more power towing a trailer. Yes. So all of these are good. 14 of you picked this. So now you're going to see people. What's the difference between hand to hand and hand over hand? This is hand over hand. This is hand to hand. You going around a curve, slightly turn the wheel. You going into a roundabout. Okay. Depends on the type of steering maneuvers. I'll try to show you a video on that. Good question. When parking downhill at a curb, turn your wheel sharply too. I went over that. If you're parking downhill, you want to turn your steering wheel to the right. Why? If your car slips out of gear, the front of the car will run into the curb. Okay? Got to remember that. And you want to pull up your park brake. So 14 of you got that right. Good job. I looked at it. On the camera, it is backwards, but I do have it right. I looked at that when I got it. And if you, let's pretend to my right, I have a flagpole. So if I flip it up, it will be backwards. So on camera, it looks backwards. I know. Right. But also means I'm in distress if the flag is backwards. But I'll flip it over. Okay, let's keep going. What type of steering is used when necessary to operate a vehicle, such as changing gears? So now, if you never had a manual, you don't know. Well, you have to put your hand on the shifter. So you would use one hand to shift and one hand to steer. You can't use hand to hand. You can't use hand over hand. You can't use any of these choices. So 14 of you got this right. Good job. Another picture. Who has the right of way entering a freeway? The traffic already on the freeway. 9 of you picked vehicles entering. So this tells me you don't understand rules of the right of way. So that's the answer you can miss on your state test. That's part of you getting cut off when you merge on the expressway. We have to yield to oncoming traffic. Which type of steering is used to complete sharp turns or short distance at slow speed? Going around a 90-degree turn, hand over hand. Okay, so your hand placement will dictate what you do. Emergency flashers warn drivers that your car has broken down. Yes. Your car is stopped on the roadway. Yes. Traffic is suddenly stopped ahead. You see semi trucks. If there's a big traffic jam on the expressway, you'll see them turn on the 4-way flashers. This is to warn people, hey, don't rear end me. There's a big traffic slowdown. Put in questions since I'm going over this. What keeps track of the total number of miles driven? So your tachometer tells you the revolutions per minute in your engine. The speedometer tells you the speed. The odometer tells you how many miles are on your vehicle. None of you picked a fuel gauge. Thank you. In a vehicle with steering wheel airbag, adjust your seat so you're at least about 10 inches from the steering wheel. So that's correct. 15 is too far. 2 is too close. 5 is too close. So most of you pick about 10 inches. So that tells me you understand it. I love those hearts. Thank you, guys. Let's keep it going. I got my group here, my top fans. You're awesome. I love you. Okay, let's keep going. You may pass another car on the right by driving onto the shoulder. It's yes or no. The answer is no. You cannot drive on the shoulder. That's a test question. Here's a picture of the wintertime. Is it safe to use cruise control on icy roads? No, it is not. 4 of you said yes. So this tells me you don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. You can't use cruise control on icy or wet roads. Where do you place your keys to start the car? It's an ignition switch. It's not a door lock. It's not the steering wheel. It's not the accelerator switch. It's the ignition switch. And fortunately, our car, you have a key to put in. Most of your parents' car have a push to start. Here's another picture. You are permitted to speed up when another car is trying to pass you. The answer is no. You're not permitted to speed up if another car is trying to pass you. That would lead to an accident. Following too close is known as tailgating. It's not blind spotting. It's not parallel parking. It's not passing. It is tailgating. May you ever legally double park? The answer is no. Two cars parked together really close, or a car parked behind another car, that creates a fire hazard. Which gear position allows the wheels to roll without the engine power? It is neutral. It's not first gear because you're connected. It's not reverse because you're connected. It's not drive. Neutral. The motor and transmission are disconnected. Proper mirror adjustment eliminates all blind spots. This is false. What is neutral used for? If your car stalls out and you're driving on the expressway, you can put it in neutral and start your car. If your car is stuck in mud, you can put the car in neutral. Someone can help you push it out. Your car needs to be pulled by your friend's big truck. You have a tow rope. You put it in neutral. Your friend in his big truck can pull you home. That is neutral. Jen, I gave you 3 or 4 examples, girl. Stop playing. Woo! Those are good examples. Type what you learned. Type what you learned. We still going deep. Type what you learned in the chat. Come on, type what you learned. We learned about neutral. We learned about hand over hand, hand to hand. Give me some examples. We learned about when to use cruise control and when to not use cruise control. We learned about parking too close to a curb and too far away. Too far away, you're going to get your car hit. Too close to the curb, you're going to get a ticket. We learned about being double parked. We learned about passing. We learned about where do you place the key to start your car? In the ignition switch, if you have a keyed ignition switch. If you don't, you have a key fob. You put the fob in your pocket, in your purse, in your jacket. You come in the car, you lock your door, you put your foot on the brake, then you push the start button. The car starts up. But also your car could be vulnerable to being stolen because thieves are using sophisticated equipment and they can figure out the digital code to your car, open your door, and start your car without the key fob. So they are stealing cars like that. So more cars today have a fob, an electronic, or wireless key. So criminals are always one step ahead of us. You want to park under a well-lit area. You want to make sure you lock your doors. One of my daughter's friends, she was getting ready to go on a trip. She lived in an apartment. They were watching her. They stole her purse and her wallet. She found it in a trash can about 30 feet from her car. They took all the money. They took her credit cards. She was getting ready to go on a trip. She didn't go on her trip. Don't be vulnerable and leave your keys, your wallet, your phone in your car. People are watching you. Some crimes are opportunity. Like when you go to your gym, when you go to the gym and change your clothes, you don't have a locker. Some of your friends are stealing. People steal. They have it in the Bible. When you're merging on the freeway, you got to yield for traffic on the freeway. Some of you don't understand it. Are they going to get over? No, they're not going to get over. What do? You either speed up or slow down. Hand over hand, parallel parking. You got to line up, turn hand over hand, get that car tight in to the right. Going around a slight right turn, hand to hand. Going around a roundabout, hand to hand. Backing in your driveway, you've got to turn hand over hand to get that wheel turned to back the car in. Going around a circle driveway and seeing 2 cyber trucks. Elon, what are you thinking? Right? Learning how to shift into a lower gear if you're stuck in mud, snow. Learning when to turn on your blinker, 100 feet, half a block. Turning on too early, you confuse drivers. Turning on too late, you're going to get rear-ended. I like this because this gave you some visual pictures. And this helped you understand. So let's keep it going. What do you mean lower gear? I thought lower gear. I thought that was only in manuals. The answer is no. Some of your, okay, for instance, the Ford F-150s, they have a 10-speed transmission. Let's pretend you're driving in mud. Your transmission will shift to gear 4 or 5 to give you more power in the mud and snow. Bam, Natalie. Let's pretend you're on the highway. Beautiful day. Your transmission will shift into a lower gear so you have better fuel economy. This is why automotive manufacturers have 8-speed transmissions, 9-speed transmissions, and 10-speed transmissions. You don't believe me? Look it up. Look up 10-speed transmissions and fuel economy, and you'll see automotive manufacturers are making transmissions with more gears to give you more fuel economy. Older cars have a 3-speed transmission, okay? Drive, 3, 2, and 1. When your transmission has more gears, you can be into lower gear and your engine turns at a lower RPM and you get better fuel economy. In automatic cars, the answer is, Logan, yes. As you step on the gas, the car will shift from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7. Some cars have a skip gear. If you press it gradually, it might start in 2. Let's pretend you're in the snow. Your tires are slipping in gear 1 and 2. It might start in gear 3 and then skip to gear 5 and then 7, 8, 9, 10. Look it up if you don't believe me. So cars do have smarter technologies. Older cars, say under 2018, 2014, don't have the computers and they don't have as many gears. So this is why you have cars with bigger, yes, go ahead, Carter, you good. Okay, so cars do shift. Like the driver's car we have, it's a 2010. When you push your foot on the gas, it goes bump, bump, bump. In a computer controlled car, it will be much smoother. You wouldn't even feel it shift. And sometimes the computer may say, okay, the conditions are right. I'm going to shift to a different gear. You're learning a lot. I like the questions. But many of you, it's not important. You just want a car that works. So every car is a little bit different. Let's keep it going. I like those questions. I'm going to give you some more test prep. Hold on. Seth, can you do me a favor? Seth, can you do me a favor and mute yourself, please? Thank you, bro. All right, we're going to continue to elevate you and giving you some good information. I love your questions. Put questions in, give this thing a thumbs up. Let's keep it going. And to answer more of your question, Logan, about that, if you lift your foot off the gas, the transmission may shift into a lower or higher gear. It's based on the speed, the load. Are you going downhill? Are you going uphill? Are you towing something? The temperature of the transmission. There are a lot of variables. We're going to look at some other test stuff right now. Okay, let's look at this. So I'm going to ask the question and you're going to put in the answer. So what type of risk does driving involve, right? You put in the risk that driving involves. So I need you to put in the type of risk that driving involves. The question says, driving, is it risk-free? Risk becomes free with the experience. Risk involves regular risk. The risk is only with other traffic. What up? What up? So I want you to put in some of the risk that you have seen as a beginning driver. First, I'm going to tell you, don't put regular risks. I already know that. What are some of the risks you've seen as a beginning driver? What are some of the risks that you go through? Let me talk about it. You run yellow lights. We could get hit. You pull out in front of cars. We could get hit. You don't check your blind spot and make a lane change. You turn in the wrong lane. You turn on your left blinker, but you should be going right. Yes, the car could catch on fire if you have a fuel leak. You drive when you're really tired. You are going too slow merging on the expressway. You're going too fast merging on the expressway. You're angry when you drive. Yes, some people are under the influence. You run lights, hydroplane, not yielding. Yes, we're in a Cybertruck neighborhood and you see a yield sign, you don't yield and a car is coming. Okay, we haven't seen many yield signs. And if you know what a yield sign is, type yes. If you don't, type no. So typically a lot of newer neighborhoods, they don't have signs anymore. Okay, what color's the yield sign? Then if you know, put in the color, right? So because I'm an instructor, I drive with risk every day. I'll see you 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Hi. You could run a light. You might not stop and rear in the truck. You might make a right turn and pull out in front of a car. You could be going too fast in the wrong lane or too slow in the wrong lane. Okay. The alternator, you might not know this. I have the answer, son. The alternator charges the battery. All cars have alternators. Okay. All cars have alternators. Thank you. All cars have alternators. They charge the battery. If you leave your headlights on all night, your battery will be drained. The alternator charges the battery up. Okay. Alternators don't last forever. Sometimes, let's pretend you put in a stereo in your car. You put in a new screen. You put in things that pull a lot of power. Your alternator has to work harder. Your battery has to work harder. It might overextend. You do have to check your fuel gauge. A lot of beginners don't do that. Okay, and then you run out of gas. You can get a ticket. Thank you. Stopping distance is, and this is a good question, perception, reaction, and braking distance. Perception is when you see the hazard. Reaction is when you actually put your foot on the brake. Braking distance is the time it takes you to stop. So I just explained it. Again, perception is when you see it. Reaction is when that information goes from your brain to your muscles. Okay, and braking distance, if your car has ball-headed tires, it's going to take longer to stop. If it's wet, it's going to take longer to stop. If it's in the rain, snow, ice. 3 vehicles come to a 4-way stop at the same time. The car on the right has the right of way. Tell me some other right-of-way rules that you guys know. Type it in. Tell me some other right-of-way rules that you guys know. Again, tell me some other right-of-way rules that you know. Type it in. Thank you, Leo. Thank you, Seth. Thank you, Blake. Only about 5 people really have told me. People riding their bikes. What about people riding their bikes, Lex? They have the right of way? I wish you could give me a situation. A warning sign with an orange background, that is construction. Whoever writes first. Thank you, Grace. Tell me some of the dangers in construction zones. Type in some of the dangers in construction zones. Everyone should be typing in. What are some of the dangers in construction zones? Type it in. Everyone should be typing this stuff. Everyone has different things. People going too fast, not paying attention, hugging the right, not slowing down. When someone puts a stop sign in your face and you're still going too fast and they walk right out in front of us. Which happened today? You might hit a cone. I'd rather hit a cone than a human. Incomplete roads. Thank you, Logan, getting deep. Thank you, Logan. The roads are incomplete. They're gravel. There's a drop off. You could slide around. Incomplete roads, debris, speeding, cones. We hopefully don't run over the cement because they worked on that. What does defensive driver mean? Give me some examples of defensive driving. In your own words, give me some examples. Give me some examples in your school zone, in your neighborhood. Okay, backing out of a driveway. Give me some examples of how I teach you to be a defensive driver. How do I teach you to be a defensive driver? Give me some examples. How has your instructor taught you to be a defensive driver? Everyone should be putting in examples. I'm phrasing. Give me some examples of how. Zachary, tell me how you're ready to react. For a cupcake, a donut, a Slurpee, Takis? You got to give me more information. What type of dangers are we watching out for? You didn't tie your shoe? Your breath don't bump? You didn't brush your teeth? You wore the same socks? Your dad broke your glasses? I mean, come on. Give me some deeper examples. Being able to calculate it better, that's not telling me anything. You're saying the words, but you're not telling me that you understand. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Anna. Leo had a nice drive today, and we talked about field of vision and peripheral vision. The central vision is here. The peripheral vision is out, looking, being aware, seeing the people walking to the left, the Cybertruck to the right, the little kids on the e-bikes, the little kids getting ready to walk into the street, we're by the water. And then the mom looks at us like, I wish you would. And I tell you, slow down, cover the brakes, stay to the left. You got to be judging whether you have enough time. No, I wish I did have a Cybertruck. I'd be off the hook, bro. Oh, I wish. We saw 2 today. No, I don't. Oh my God. On wet roads, how should you drive on wet roads? What are some of the dangers on wet roads? What are some of the dangers on wet roads? I need you to tell me some of the dangers. How do you drive? What do you do? What shouldn't you do? Safe drive, drive slower. Hydroplane is one of the dangers. Thank you, Blake. I can tell if you slow down. Keep going. Come on. All these things, drive slower with caution. Drive smooth. Ooh, be smooth. And I told Leo that, man, you're starting to get smoother in the turns. He was like, yeah, I am. I'm like, yeah, boy. Okay. He made some nice left turns right by the double yellow. I'm like, yeah, boy. He was making good turns. But then sometimes he would hit the gas and go wide, or sometimes he would go short. It sounds familiar to all of you, but Leo was learning. He was learning. I was smiling. I was feeding positivity into him. He was growing, making good turns. Hit that parallel park. Skirt, skirt. Which of the following is true when facing uphill to a curb? What are some of the dangers when driving uphill? I need you to tell me. What are some of the dangers? Okay, what are some of the dangers when driving uphill? What should you do? What shouldn't you do? Give me some information. Let's keep this thing going. What are some of the dangers? Not being able to see oncoming traffic. Your car could stall. Blake. Woo! Okay. Not going too slow or too fast. Not knowing what's ahead. Thank you, Anna. Not knowing what's ahead. We don't have a lot of curves and hills. I can take you on some going too fast and end up catching some airtime. Logan, why are we trying to catch airtime, my boy? Yes, that could happen. It has happened in the driver's head car. We're not trying to do that today. Right, we go on a lot of curves, and we don't want to catch air. We could. Lack of grip. That is true. You'll lose grip. You have to have a title of your car. You don't keep the title with you. You keep the title at home, or if you don't own the car, the finance company that owns the car has it. A deacceleration lane is when you slow down. I like this because this gave us some good information. Type what you learned. Everyone type what they learned. I thought it was powerful. I thought it was good. Type what you learned. Please. Type what you learned. Type what you learned. And by me going over the questions and answers, you learn more. And I'm having you type in information. I'm just trying to make you smarter. Your test scores will thank me later. You would say, I need to downshift. We're going too fast. If you're on a slippery road, you might want to reduce speed, downshift to a lower gear. Also, if you're sliding into something or you can't stop in time, I've had a student go too fast. We can't brake in time. I would downshift the car into a lower gear so I can use the power of the engine to slow you down, right? That's important. I like to, give me 1 second. I'm going to do some more interactivity. Be prepared, always be prepared to stop. I like that, Blake. That's the defensive driving mindset, real talk. Okay, let's look at this sample driving evaluation sheet. I need you, hold on. I need you to put some questions in about this. Take a moment and look at this. You can focus on intersections, backing, turns, driver improvement checklist. Type in your question. Driver improvement checklist. I'm going to go through Leo's development because I thought he did well. Intersections. In the beginning, when Leo was driving, he didn't go up far enough to see traffic to the left and right. We went around the block a couple of times. He started coming up and looking left, looking right. He was kind of looking too long. It's just a quick glance. Is anything coming? Clear. Anything coming? Clear. Okay, it's clear. Leo started checking traffic and checking for cars, checking for people. His speed became more consistent. Sometimes he would go too fast at intersections, making him go too wide. Sometimes he would turn short and almost hit the curb. Sometimes he had his hands too low, which made the steering wheel small. Leo did have good speed control along the way. Should you buy a car or truck? It depends on your budget. If you can afford a bigger vehicle, buy a bigger vehicle. You should always buy the bigger vehicle that is safer. You have more metal around you. Sometimes Leo did not stop unnecessarily. He didn't like pump the brake when we needed to. He did yield. He did check traffic. Leo used the ball of his foot. I'm just using him as an example. Leo did come to a complete stop. Leo did look. He just didn't pull out in front of cars. Thank you, E. That's what she said. Okay, let's keep going. He did check traffic. He watched more by the beach area. There were little kids running out. We saw the girls in bikinis, boys with no shirt on, little kids riding electric bikes. There was a lot going on. So we had to kind of pause, scan, cover our brake, and go slow. Residential areas, we went through neighborhoods. There weren't a lot of people there. He had good speed control. I did have him parallel park. He was pretty consistent. He had pretty good speed control. Lane changing, He checked his mirror. He was a little inconsistent checking blind spots, but he will get better. He did have good steering control. He kept good spacing in his turns. I told you he turned a little short. Short means you're going to go over the curb, or sometimes he came in too fast. So you have to learn to brake. You want to be under 15 when you make your right turn. You want to accelerate out. He did stop behind the stop line. He did increase making smooth turns. Put some questions in. He didn't lane use. He didn't turn short in his lane changes. It was smooth. Speed control, I thought, was okay in neighborhoods. He was a little fast in the downtown area. Too fast to control the car. And a little fast dangerous when a lot of kids, parents, because little kids will run out. Okay? So I'm trying to teach him to be that defensive driver. He didn't go over the speed limit. Occasionally he was a little quick for the situation. He wasn't fast. He had to learn. He didn't do any dangerous maneuvers. He didn't hit the curb. He obeyed lights and signs. He didn't strike the curb. I didn't have to grab the wheel. He was pretty safe and consistent. So I need you to put in questions about this. This is what a road test may look like. Okay, if you already have a car, are you allowed to drive the car to the road test? Yes. Or do you have to use their car? No. Some road testers have cars there available for an extra $50, $75, or $100. You should always drive the car you're used to driving. You know the brakes, you know the gas. You can't have a cracked windshield. I think it's up here. Pre-driving checklist. Your windshield cannot be cracked. You need to have mirrors. Your blinkers need to work. Your tires need to be in good shape. Your horn needs to work. Your emergency flashers. You need to have a quarter of a tank of gas. And then look up here at the top to pass. You must have no more than 3 errors marked in items 9 through 14. Yeah, go. You're good, Logan. Go. Pre-drive checklist. No marks in critical driving errors. Section no more than 15 errors. So our state has 25. If you go over 25 errors, it's an automatic fail. Speeding, running a light, making a right turn on red when there's a sign that says no right turn on red, going under the speed limit, striking a curb, running a light, going over speed, failure to yield. You merge on the expressway, you don't check your blind spot, you get a deduction. You drive too fast in the neighborhood. You're not speeding, but you're still too fast, you could get a warning. How long is the road test? The road test is about 45 minutes. If you hit something, you fail. Simple. Keep asking questions. Lane usage. Begin in turns in the correct lane. A lot of beginners turn into the wrong lane. You go in the right lane, but you drift to the left. Or you're making a left turn. I told you Leo nailed those turns. I said, turn by the double yellow. He looked, he checked. He went a little bit wide, but then he got right into the lane. I thought it was good. I gave him a high five. I'm like, you're powerful, bro. Do not cut the turn short. Some of you do that. Do not make turns wide. I try to teach you not to make wide turns. Keep in the center of the lane. Some of you still hug the right a little bit. You're going to hit the curb. Or some of you hug the left. Or some of you are going around circle driveways and you want to use the full driveway and you're getting close to mailboxes. But you're learning how to drive and you saw 2 cyber trucks. It was awesome. Use 2-way left turns appropriately. Do not drive too far in the right lane. For right turns, use the rightmost part of the lane. And if you pass the road test, can you get your license that day? If you're 16, you have all your hours, the answer is it's going to take about 3 to 4 days. The state has to mail you your paper license, and then you're going to go to DMV and take your picture. Good question. Keep asking questions. We got a half an hour. Come on. You'll get a minus if you don't look left and right and approaching intersections. Emily was checking traffic. Okay. Grace was checking traffic. Leo was checking traffic. Okay. Uh, so you have to check traffic. You got to look left and right. Blake checks traffic. He kind of does that naturally. Carson is starting to check traffic. All of you are checking that because I want you to be safe, and I look for that. Sincere was checking traffic. Nice guy, chilled, relaxed, had good speed control, really natural driver. I like drivers like that. But I also have to watch you because you could give me a false sense of reality, run a light, or make a left turn. When do you get your permit? Will it be after segment 1? Okay, you got to make sure you have 24 hours of class. You got to take your test. I got to turn it into corporate. They're going to put it in your digital file. As soon, let's pretend this is your driving card. I turn it into corporate. It's all signed. It's dated. I did a good job. You did a good job. You passed your test. You didn't miss any days. Within 7 to 10 days, you're going to get a digital certificate. Then you make an appointment at the Secretary of State. Yeah, you got to read the book. Why are the things that most people do when they realize you hit a curb, you go overspeed, you can't parallel park, you need the instructor to intervene and you almost crash, you hit a curb, you disobey and run a light, you disobey a yield sign, a stop sign, you disobey safety driving protocols, you don't put on your seatbelt, you're speeding in the neighborhood, you do a dangerous maneuver, you cut off a car making a left turn, automatic failure. You speed, automatic failure. You make a lane violation, you don't use a blinker, you don't check your blind spot, you cut off a chuck. What is auxiliary equipment? They may ask you to turn on the radio. You may drift out of your lane. I can't tell you everything. Take Leo as an example, how he drove today. Leo would pass. Seth, very good question. Leo would pass. He was moving a little fast. So I'm honest, Leo, thank you for being honest. Seth, Leo would pass. He was just a little fast going into turns, but he turned out smoothly. He did parallel park. Of course, we did not go on the freeway, so I don't know, but I think he would do fine. He was looking around, so I think Leo would pass. That was good. I thought he would. You got to read the book. Okay, and we're kind of going deep, and I'm trying to make this interactive. Give me 1 second. And I try to get all of you to pass the test. If you, I don't teach you to fail. I teach you to pass. Give me 1 second. I teach you to pass. We don't run red lights. We use our blinker. We have good speed control. I get you. Are you going to tell us what we need to do wrong? Yes. Is the written test for the second section of the road test? It is, and what driver must know. Would you fail if you ran a yellow light unintentionally? You're probably okay. You don't want to slam brakes. If you can safely stop in 3 seconds, you slow down and stop. If the light just turned yellow and you can't stop safely, you go through. But if you keep running yellow lights, you're going to send a message to the road tester, and that's a dangerous maneuver because we could. Are you going to tell us what we need to work on, the small things wrong? Always do. I try to be thorough. I try to do it in a fun, energetic, dad way. And most of you respond very well because I'm a high energy person. You know me, I'm the hype man, right? And I'm going to get you ready because I teach you to pass the road test. So this is what every driver must know. Every state has one. If you really want to pass, you'll look through whatever driver must know. You need to read, but you won't. There's a digital version. You need to look through this. It's got road signs on the front. What is this blue sign? Everyone type it in. Okay, what is this blue sign? Type it into the chat. What does this blue sign mean with the circle and a man on it? What does it mean? Okay, why does this sign only this color? What does this sign mean? And what happens if you park in this area? What happens? So it's a handicap sign. It's blue and white. It has a wheelchair. If you park in there, your car could get towed. What does this warning sign mean with an X and an RR? Everyone should be typing it in. Let's go. I do things a little bit different. What does the yellow background with an X and an RR mean? This means there's a railroad. You need to start slowing down. You need to look left and right. Leo did that. Grace does that. Emily does that. Blake does that. Just calling out a few people. Okay? And you will. I'm just calling out people who show consistency. What does this red sign with the white letters mean? Red sign, white letters. Now in here, they talk about license requirements, the real ID. That's across the country. What about if you're under 18? What if you're over 18? Providing social security number, providing legal documentation, providing proof of identity, proof of residency. There's a lot of things going on across the United States that I don't really want to get into, but getting your license is a way to citizenship. Okay, real talk. You got to take a vision test. If you fail the vision test, you won't be able to get your license. A TIP is a temporary instruction permit. If you're over 18, you're going to get a TIP. That's called a temporary instruction permit. The driving test, that's on page 8. You type in what you want me to look at for chapter 1. Whatever you type in the number, whatever number I get, I'm going to go over it. Either we're doing 1, 2, 3, 5. You type in the number of the one you want me to go over. Thank you, Natalie. She used full letters. You type in the number. Looks like 8. Okay, I'm going to go to page 8. We'll do it by section. It's a lot of information. Also, you need to know this. We have the donor registration, and that's in segment 2. You can choose to become a donor if you want to. Some people do, some people don't. Yes. Yes, because this is online class, the max number is 20. Most of you I will see. You chose the online option. It's quick, it's easy, it's fun. Okay, driving skills. Driving skills test. Well, you need to take the driving test. Okay. Restricted. Renew your license. Hold on. Let me go back. Okay, you would need to take the driving test if you are graduating from a level 2. That's what you guys will be. If you are 18 or older and your license has been issued, an original license, if your last license has expired in more than 4 years. So none of you are there. If you are younger than 18, that's you. You have to complete segment 2. You have to have 50 hours of supervised driving, 10 hours at night. Use the app Road Ready. You might want to look that up. Road Ready is the app you're going to use, and that logs your hours. Also, you'll get a packet when you go to Secretary of State. You have your levels 1 for at least 6 months. No convictions, civil, no tickets, no suspensions, no at-fault crashes for 90 days. Okay? So these things are important in terms of you getting into segment 2. Okay? Hold on. I'm seeing something. Which would you prefer as a good driver? Would you prefer a good driver online or in person? It's whatever today, because we want to offer options. Let's talk about COVID. Post-COVID, everything was in person. Everything. They weren't online. Now we have online driver's ed. We have online college classes. My daughter's taking a college class right now online. She had to take a test before I took her to the airport this morning to go to California. Her and her bestie hanging out 5 days. That's why I'm so tired. So some people prefer in person. Some people prefer online. I think it depends on the teacher, the person. Some of your parents are like, no, you can't focus. Everyone is different. We all are a little bit different. Thank you. So I prefer a mix. Now where my career is, it's online. Okay. I'm chilled in the basement. You chill wherever you are. You know, I got my coffee. It's empty. I had, you're going to laugh. I had my double cheeseburger, quarter pounder with cheese. It's gone. So it's more convenient. And then I see you when we drive. Then we meet in person for the test. Okay. So I like that question. Great question. Okay. I want to, does driving with you count? No. Anna is asking great questions. How come no one else is doing that? Sincere, when you go put a question in, that's good. Logan, when you go put a question in? Jen, when you go put a question in? Driving with me does not count towards your 30 hours. It's got to count with your parents when you're done with segment 1 and you go to Secretary of State. So this is like your training, driver's training with a licensed instructor, and that's me. But once you're done, you get that digital certificate. You and your parent go to the Secretary of State, birth certificate, Social Security, a piece of mail. You take your vision test. You're going to get issued your segment 1. Let me show you what it looks like. It's going to be a vertical. I see a question. Hold on. Okay, your second license. This is what a traditional. It's horizontal. Okay, that's what the traditional. Hold on. You will have a vertical license like that. You're under 21. Yep, you're going to have a vertical license. That's what you guys will have. Then after you have this, then you'll get the regular one. Okay, I see some questions. How many hours do you need? You need 30 hours in 3 months. It's an hour and a half per week to come back for segment 2. You need to be 16 and have 50 hours of driving before you can take your road test. Can 21 choose? You'll have the horizontal. Right now, you're under 21. You're going to have the vertical. That's how they can tell you're under 21. Da da da. Let's keep going. I'm going to go back. Is there a study guide for the final examination? You'll be seeing this everything personally, accidentally, instead of the group chat. Sincere, everything is here. But you got to study. And if you don't study, you won't be successful. You have to study. You got to look at the study guide. You got to look at what I give you. You got to be thorough. You got to be killing it in the quizzes. Okay? I can give you all the study aids in the world, but if you don't study or if you're dyslexic and can't read, I'm not saying if you can't read, you're going to struggle on the test. And a lot of American, Sincere, you can read, brother. Hold on. For night hours, what time? You have to be in, I believe, before midnight. You got to double check that. We can look at that. When we have all of our hours? Will you know? Okay, let's pretend you have 30 hours. It's going to take you 3 months. You got to have 30 hours within 3 months. You can't drive 30 hours, go to Alaska and come back. You got to have 30 hours in 3 months. It's got to, let's pretend all of you go to Secretary of State tomorrow. That is your original license date. You got to have 30 hours in 3 months from that date. It's the 14th. Okay, let's pretend you go to Secretary tomorrow. It's July 15th, August, September, October. The earliest you can come back is October to a segment 2 class. I believe it's 10 p.m. Thank you. I appreciate that. The physical examination, you got to be able to look. Every Secretary of State is different. Okay, I'm trying to make this interesting. I want to go in order. We have a point system. Some states don't. For instance, Ohio, if you get a speeding ticket, you got to pay on the point. You don't pay, they impound you and you go to jail. In our state, we have a point system. After too many points, you get your license taken away. And you're going to get a letter that's red, and you're going to have to, what would be some questions that the hearing, I have not witnessed a hearing test, but I've seen the eye test. You're going to look into a machine, you're going to have a flashing light on the right and on the left. That's basically it. Now, if you wear corrective lenses, they might go a little bit deeper. I will tell you, you want to be about a foot away. I do check. I'm really thorough like that. Will be some questions. So the hearing, I'm not a ophthalmologist. That's an eye doctor. You have to be able to see flashing lights, and you have to be able to see the flashing light is on the left, the flashing light on the right. When you are parked on the street, well, they measure the distance. If you go to a downtown area, very popular, a lot of metered parking spots, during the day, the Traffic Enforcement Bureau will come out and mark a piece of chalk on your tire. If your meter expires, you get a ticket. If you're parked too far away from the curb, you could get a ticket. You've been in the Secretary of State before with your mom or dad, or some of you have not. It's a very interesting place to go. What are the parts we will read in the book? You want to read thoroughly. We got 18 minutes. We're going to go over section 3 in a minute. I want to go to chapter 2, because you need to know about the point system. Every state is different. Will our road test be the same driving with you? No. I am not a third-party road tester. In our state, I would have to give up my Segment 1, Segment 2 certificate. I think there's a better financial opportunity to teach teens and adults at level 1. Road tests, yes, you can make a lot more money, but there are more people who want to drive. There are less people who are ready to take the test and drive. So I'm looking at opportunities. So no, it won't be with me. It will be with someone else. A third-party road tester, you can look it up in your state or your region. Segment 1 driver's education, 14.8. You have a parent or guardian. You got to drive for 24. You have class for 24 hours. You have an instructor with a minimum of 6 hours behind the wheel, 4 hours of observation. You got to get a 70% on your test. We have something called a GDL, a graduated driving license. All of you will be in level 1. And then level 2, you will come back and see me in 3 months. To apply for level 2, you must have at least 30 hours of supervised driving, 2 hours at night. You must have your level 1 for 3 consecutive months. Level 2 consists of 6 hours of class. You must I'm reading a question. How long do we have until the physical standard test and road test? It depends on how old you are. Put in how old you are. Typically 16 months. It says how long until the physical standards test and the road test. Let's look at the information. I'm reading it now. Okay. So for the segment 2, it goes in the step. It's right here, right in front of us. So, like until the end, hold on. Segment 2. So first you're in segment 1 right now. All of you are in segment 1. You're going to pass the test. You got to drive 30 hours in 3 months with your parent. You're going to come back. You got to have 30 hours in 3 months. The soonest you can come back is August, September, October. It's got to be 3 months. The soonest I can see you guys is 3 months. Unless your mom or dad goes on time to Secretary of State. But they might say, let's wait a couple of weeks, or we're tired, or, you didn't do your homework, or you're rude, or whatever the case may be. So let's look at this. A lot of you are asking questions. It depends on when you finish segment 2. Some of you have missed days. You got to come back. Look at the kids now and here. They have to make up a class. So there are a lot of variables. I try to get you done and on time. I try to get you done and on time. And that's really important that I do that because I care. To apply, you must have your driving log, a minimum of 2 hours at night. I'm looking for segment 2. Let's look at this. It's right here. So you have to have your segment 1 license for 3 consecutive months. So if you've only had it 2 months, you can't enroll in segment 2. If you've only had it for 2.5 months, it's got to be 3 consecutive months. Segment 2 consists of 6 hours of driving. You must pass segment 2. 6 hours of classroom instruction. I apologize. You must pass segment 2 with a minimum of 70%. So it's 6 hours of class. It's no driving, and you have to take your test and pass this 70%. Now, driving skills test. This is where some of you are a little bit confused. If you want to take your test, you must be at least 15. Some of your birthdays are different. You must have completed segment 2. So some of you could take segment 2 before you're 16. But it depends on your birthday. Some of you have an early birthday. Some of you have a birthday in maybe, let's say, January of 2025. Some of you have birthdays in December. Okay? What is the I just talked about it. You're in segment 1. Let's look at it. Segment 1 is segment 1. We're in segment 1. You have to have 24 hours of class, 6 hours of driving. You have to pass your test with a passing percentage. Segment 2, 3 days of class, no driving. So that's the difference. Segment 2 consists of 6 hours of classroom instruction. And segment 2, you must pass a minimum of 70%. Now let's talk about taking your road test. So the difference between segment 1 and segment 2, less questions in segment 2, no driving in segment 2. In segment 1, you have to drive 6 hours. You have to have observation. You have to have your parent document your 30 hours of driving. Okay, let's talk about your road test. To apply for your driving skills test, it's right here. To apply for your driving skills test, it's all right here. It says it. Let's look at it. To apply for, you must at least be 15. You can't be 14 because you can take driver's ed at 14A to 14.9. You must have completed your segment 2 with a minimum of 50 hours of drive time and 10 hours at night. You must have held your graduated license for 6 months. It's got to be 6 months. You will need to present your completed segment 1 driver's license. You'll get that when you go to Secretary of State. You must have your segment 2 completion certificate along with your insurance registration. So you can't skip these. Driving skills tests are given by a drive testing business approved by the state. The more information can be provided within this chapter. So it's got to be a certified driving school. Good question. Now, you ask about when you can come in. It's right here. Thank you, Anna. Level 2 intermediate license restrictions. You're restricted from driving 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. unless you have a parent or a guardian with you. Okay, or are you coming from a place of employment? A lot of kids ask that. You have your full license about 17. To be eligible, you must be at least 17, have held your level 2 intermediate license for 6 months. How many 71s do you teach? In a year, I want to say 6. It's more than 4. It's not 10. I want to say 6. I teach 1 a month, but in some cases, so 12 months in a year, each segment 1 is 6 weeks. So a month is 30 days, 28 days. So you can do this. So I do about 6 segment 1 classes, about 6 or 8. Will we have you for segment 2? It depends. I'm mostly in this county area. Some of you may choose to go in person because it's quick, but the classes fill up. There's a shortage. Okay, put more questions in. The physical standards, you asked about that. The Secretary of State office will ask you a few general health questions as part of the screening process. Your application may be denied pending a re-examination with additional medical information. Maybe you have seizures. Got it? You can't drive if you're not seizure-free. That's the physical standards. Okay? Maybe you have a heart condition. I had a young lady who had a heart condition. Very, very low heartbeat. She can't drive by herself because she could pass out. That's the physical standards. You have to have doctor's permission. And then Secretary of State may test you because they don't want to license you and then you have a seizure and kill someone and then you can get sued and they can get sued. The state's not going to do that. Vision and knowledge test. You will be given a vision test to determine if your vision meets the minimal. If you wear glasses, you're going to have corrective lenses. You may need to pass the test. Your driver's license will indicate that you must wear glasses. If you fail the vision test, your eye care specialist must complete a vision statement documenting that you meet the standards. Sometimes you'll be limited to daylight time only. This is true. So now you see the physical standards. If you're required to take a knowledge test for your original operator's or chauffeur's license and commercial driver's license, a lot. If you have difficulty reading English or speaking English, you could have a interpreter there. See, language interpreters, right? So we get some good information. To apply for your TIP, proof of social security number, proof of citizenship, proof of identity, and residency. Some of you want to ride motorcycles. Do you need a whole new driver's license in another country? Yes. Yes, if you plan to drive in another country, you're going to have to take their test. My son was in Belo Horizonte, Brazil. He has an American license. If he wants to drive there legally, he's going to have to take a test. He's going to have to speak Portuguese, but he speaks Portuguese a little bit. He's going to have an interpreter, and he's going to have to drive a manual. I don't know if my son knows how to drive a manual. He might, but in Brazil, they drive manuals. That was a good question. I like that. You got a couple minutes. Put those questions in. Hold on. We can go to Canada. They will look at your license or permit. I have an enhanced license. So does my son. He used to be recruited by the University of Buffalo. So we took him Secretary of State. I had to show them his birth certificate, his school records, his shot records, identification that I was actually his dad. He has an enhanced license, so he can go anywhere in the United States, Canada, or the contiguous U.S. or the Virgin or Cayman Islands. Give me 1 minute. We started at about 8:31. Yes, he was recruited. He had 3 offers. I had 6. I beat him. Seth, we'll talk about that later. But every state's a little bit different. Okay. Driving skills test, we talked about that. I thought this was thorough. Health restrictions, like if you have a heart condition or seizures, you're going to have blackouts, fading spells, right? Concussions. If you have a concussion, you can't drive. If you have seizures, you can't drive unless you have medical clearance. You might have to wait for 6 months. Okay, I need all of you to put your first, middle, last name in and date of birth. Do that right now for me.